Hi, everyone. Welcome to our first Montessori live stream of 2025. We are so excited to be back in action. Happy New Year to all. I hope everyone had a very nice holiday season and is ready to tackle all of the things that will happen in 2025. So today I'm very excited because we're going to kick off the new year with a collaboration announcement. And over here at AIM, we love collaborating with other really intelligent, wonderful Montessorians. And so with me today, I have Tasha Ring, who is the founder of Meridian Learning. And Tasha is going to tell us a little bit about herself and about Meridian Learning. And then we're going to tell you all about how we're collaborating to make life easier for those of you who are interested in starting a microschool or perhaps already have a microschool in action that you need a little assistance with. So Tasha, welcome.
Thank you. Happy New Year. Cheers.
Yes.
I'm very excited for 2025, feeling very good about the new year. I don't know if you do resolutions. I don't do resolutions, but I believe in intention setting. I like intention setting and also clearing out things that no longer serve us. I'm a big believer in that too. So this last week I cleaned out my office. Only one side of it, only the side you can see. I didn't clean out the other side. But yeah, I cleared out some things that I'm grateful that they served me for the time that they did, but are no longer serving me now. So that's what I like to do in the new year.
Yeah, I felt like it's very cleansing. I did a lot of that the week before the new year, just kind of like purging old and like getting ready to start brand new. But I also am not a resolution person, but I do like the idea of intentions. So
yeah, so that I feel like this is kind of a great start to that, our intention setting for the new year.
Yeah, and we have one together. So
right.
Tell me a little bit about you and your Montessori journey and where you started and where you are today.
Sure. So my Montessori journey started, probably let's say 2005-ish, 2006. I had not gone to school for education. I did not get my bachelor's degree in education. I had gone into a really different field, but surprisingly has many parallels to my education career. But I was working as a tutor and really enjoying that, and was thinking about going back to school to pursue a teaching certificate, but knew that I did not want to teach in a traditional classroom. And so I consulted some wonderful people in my life, including my parents, who were retired teachers. And my mom said, I think you should look into Montessori. And she had discovered it through homeschooling my younger sister. And so she said, hey, I know there's a training program in Cincinnati, which is where I am now and where I was at the time. I've been lots of places in between, but I reached out and I went and met with Beth Bronsel, who was the director of the Montessori program at Xavier University at the time. And that meeting was transformational, really, for me. It was a significant meeting because I really wasn't sure if I wanted to be a Montessori teacher. I wasn't sure what it was all about. And her approach was just so wonderful. She told lots of great stories about Montessori and her career in Montessori, and just made me feel welcome. You know, I walked out of that meeting feeling like Montessori was for everyone. And I had a lot of other meetings, right, in the next few years that were not quite like that. But that meeting being one of the first meetings, and really was, an advising session, was so significant. So I ended up signing up for Montessori training. I did my Montessori training at Xavier from 2006 to 2008. And it was, really such a significant, looking back now, of course, in hindsight, it was so significant. My Montessori training was so significant, not necessarily, the length of time, or it was very costly, of course, but just the awareness, the knowledge, the foundation that it gave me. And so I continued working as a tutor, and I moved to another state, and I shifted to working with homeschooling families that were utilizing Montessori materials and Montessori philosophy. And that was in 2008. So that's what I did during the 2008-2009 school year. There really were not a lot of resources available for homeschooling families, right? I mean, a lot has changed between then and now. There weren't it wasn't, coaches, Instagram. I think it's wonderful how many resources are available now for homeschooling families. But at the time, there really wasn't much. And those families felt very isolated. And so it was exciting for me to be able to connect with them, and work with them toward their goals. And one of my first clients actually was the founder of the Montessori homeschooling group.
Oh.
And so I continued doing that, but it became clear to me that that was going to be unsustainable to travel all around the great state of Indiana as a tutor. Wasn't going to be very sustainable for me. So we got together, the families and I got together. Not everyone was on board because of the distance, but we got together and started the first Meridian Microschool, Montessori-based microschool, which is Meridian Montessori. That was in 2009. In 2016, we started Meridian Microschool, and then last year we launched our adolescent program, Meridian Micro Farm.
I love it. I'd love to hear more about the micro farm. How is that going?
It's going well. We're in the community building phase right now, and it's going really well.
That's great. I love the adolescent programs. I think they're, that's kind of how I learned about Montessori, was through the adolescent approach, because my husband's adolescent trained at Xavier. So we just missed you. He went in 2010. But I think adolescent is so important, and I love that you've expanded to that. So,
and in all the different things that I've done, I've taken Montessori with me. And I think we've had this conversation before, that I feel like for all these years, 16, 17 years now, I guess, I've kind of had one foot in the world of microschools and one foot in the world of Montessori. And there's really no reason for that because, it was necessary and it was important, it was valuable, but they align so much and they work so well together. And so after, not that it was always perfect. When I did my training, there was no one who, told me that it was possible to do Montessori with, through a tutoring lens, or that it was possible to do Montessori with fewer than 20 or 30 students in the classroom. And so that there was a lot of trial and error, but it's been so successful over the years. And I think that now is just a wonderful time to continue spreading that message that Montessori is for everyone. Montessori is possible in so many different situations and environments. And yeah, it's just a wonderful time. There's no better time to be a Montessori-based microschool leader or Montessori-based education entrepreneur.
I agree. And I think that when you're talking about accessibility, the idea of, if there's not a Montessori school near you, or if there's a Montessori school near you, but it's full or it's too expensive, that you can successfully create your own microschool with the help of Meridian, is such a great opportunity for parents to want the very best for their children and want to bring them that Montessori education. So
absolutely, it's possible everywhere. So in 2016, Meridian launched our kind of community resources piece, and we launched online courses. We've done some of those collaboratively with other Montessori-based organizations, and we launched our consulting, and we launched our mentoring piece. And the one thing that has really been missing, and that's been on our list of things that we wanted to do, is to bring in the Montessori training piece, because so often in the microschool world, people ask, new and aspiring microschool leaders will say, what should I use for curriculum? And of course, in Montessori, we know that the child is the curriculum, or the young adult is the curriculum, but it all, all of those pieces don't come together until you go through Montessori training. So many of those pieces were so foundational for me. And like I said, I've carried them through everything I've done as an education entrepreneur. And so this has been on our list of things that we've wanted to do for a while. And so we had the mentorship piece, we had the coaching piece. We're really uniquely positioned to help other people who are aspiring education entrepreneurs or microschool leaders, but we didn't have the curriculum, we didn't have the training piece.
So that's where AIM comes in. And so we kind of married these ideas. So Tasha has this amazing coaching and mentorship program that is 9 months. And coincidentally, our coursework is also 9 months. So now those of you who are interested in starting a microschool can simultaneously get your Montessori training and get that mentorship and coaching to successfully start the school. And, it's a lot, right? Leading a school, taking training, you probably have your own kids that you're taking care of within that school as well. So it's a lot, but we're really trying to make it as accessible as possible. We have different options for training. So one of them is completely self-paced, our Essentials course that you can do alongside that mentorship and that coaching. So you have access to video lesson libraries of all of the materials being presented, which is huge because being able to, reading it in a manual, but being able to actually see it presented and model it is such a great way to master that practice of lesson presentation. That's really difficult to do. It takes years to master. So we also
on demand too. I think that's something that's so important for microschool leaders and microschool teacher leaders to be able to access that information on demand and not do it the way I had to do it, which is wait until I took the class and whenever it popped up in the 2-year series.
Right. And then go back to your manual and be like, what was that? I've got to find it and I've got to present it to this child who's ready to have this lesson. So resources, and you have a ton of resources that you provide within that coaching and mentorship program. And then you get to combine those with all of the AIM resources. So Montessori manuals, Montessori video lesson libraries. And so you really do get the best of both worlds, and you can utilize all of it to be really successful in creating a Montessori environment that will thrive both as a business and for the children that you're serving. So,
absolutely. We're really grateful at Meridian that AIM shares our vision to move Montessori forward in keeping with the teachings of Dr. Montessori, but also, evolving the philosophy as I believe she would expect us to do. In fact, I have all of my books that I purchased during my training. I kept them. I resold some of them, but none of Dr. Montessori's books. And they're above me here in my office. And I was pulling some of them down the last week, just kind of looking through them like I like to do, like I said, for intention setting. And this book, Education for a New World, right? We all know it's one of her well-known books, but I found this quote that I wanted to share. And she says, if education is to be reformed, it must be based upon the children. No longer is it enough to study great educators of the past. The time for that is over. Further, I protest against myself being hailed as the great educator of the century, because what I have done is merely to study the child, to take and express what he has given me, and that is called the Montessori method. And it was really so important for me to read that, because I think, the Montessori community has always had the vehicle. I've been saying this has always had the vehicle for the future of education. The future is here. It's arrived. And I think it's time to really look at, and AIM has already been doing that, and Meridian has already been doing that. So this was a very natural collaboration. How can we, embrace the future and make Montessori more accessible and bring it to more families and more children?
And I was thinking about this just earlier today, just the thought crossed my mind. I was thinking about Maria Montessori and how when she was initially kind of coming up with all of this methodology, essentially, it was 1906, like the early 20th century. And just perceptions of childhood and what a child should be doing were so different than what they are now. So I love that we're able to take her work and adapt it to the 21st century, because we're in a very different place now. And the way that we look at childhood is so vastly different than the way people were looking at childhood when she started to really value and respect the child as a human being. So if we continue to do that, and I know that we've talked about the idea of gatekeeping and how sometimes it seems like there's limitations within the Montessori world of like who can do what and what's acceptable. And we have that shared value of just really, truly opening up our hearts and opening up Montessori to everybody who's interested.
Opening those gates, yes, wide open and tearing them down. Yeah, and I think, I've said this before too, that I think sometimes the gatekeeping is unintentional. Of course, sometimes it's intentional, but I think you have kind of these vanguards of the Montessori movement, and they have perhaps unintentionally done some gatekeeping. And so it's, the new year, 2025, kind of the introduction of all of these, technologies that we're seeing. Of course, AI. I know Kate Broughton is going to be doing a chat, a live stream coming up in January. She's wonderful. She just she's full of positive information about AI too, for those who are a little bit apprehensive about it. But I think the possibilities are wonderful and endless. And yeah, now is the time to really look at how we can evolve in a way that is going to, you know, create a sustainable future and make Montessori forever, you know, which it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we've got the training part covered, but what do you see? I mean, when people come to you and they enter your mentoring program or they reach out to you for consulting and coaching, what are some of the hurdles that you see with starting a micro school? Because I think it sounds like it, you know, let's do it and you get excited and you're ready to do it, but then you hit some roadblocks that you have tons of experience with. So what are those roadblocks?
Yes. So that's a great question. One thing I want to say about that aligns is that this is truly a mentorship. And to me, mentorship means a relationship. There are other programs out there that are catalysts, you know, they call them catalysts or accelerators, with a goal to launch as many micro schools as possible. That is not the way Meridian approaches anything. It's never how we've approached anything when it comes to our lab schools or our mentorship program. You know, our goal is to be in relationship with our mentees. And we were actually the first organization in the country to launch a microschool, a grassroots microschool network, but it's always been tiny. We never had a goal to launch 100 schools, 200, you know, because we wanted to be able to be in relationship with the schools and the network. And we've only, you know, we made it a conscious decision to only have 3 Meridian schools because that's what we felt like we could do well. But yeah, so, you know, other than the curriculum piece, which that comes up a lot, what curriculum should I use? And we always want to say, have you explored Montessori? But we didn't have the training piece. So now we have this partnership, which is wonderful. There are a lot of things, you know, I think people kind of come in with a lot of energy around it. And it's sort of like starting any new business. You know, a lot of people don't realize how much time or how much money it takes. You know, when I started the first Meridian Micro School in 2009, I didn't have like capital coming in, you know, I didn't have financial assistance, but I had a lot of time. It was before I had children. So that was a little bit of an advantage for me because I started the first Meridian school several years before I had children. But yes, it's true that most of the folks who come into our mentorship program do have children. So they have a lot going on in their lives, and just kind of the organization, what comes first, what comes second, what comes third. We've done all the trial and error, or at least a lot of it. And so I think that's one of the advantages too, is that there's so much trial and error that you have to do. And we eliminate a lot of that for folks because some of it's universal. It doesn't matter where you're starting your program or, you know, whatever educational pursuit you're starting. We've helped people internationally, you know, in Asia, in Europe, and so the roadblocks look a little bit different. You know, sometimes the laws are different, right? And sometimes like zoning and, you know, the financial piece is different. That's why in one of our courses, we have financial and legal foundations that kind of goes over the things that you need to look for, the people you need to find who can help you with that process. But yeah, I mean, just kind of the steps that you need to take. And from a Montessori lens, I think people come in saying, gosh, what does this look like and how can I do this? Because they have gone through maybe a training program that only presented Montessori as being possible with 30 students, or only presented it as a 5-day program. And you know, how do you do Montessori in 2 days? How do you do it in 3 or 4 days or a half-day program? How do you integrate other philosophies with Montessori? I mean, we've done all of that. We've done pods. We've done parent-child classes. We've done microschools. We've done tutoring, all through a Montessori lens, and it's all possible. And I think what I'm seeing now is more and more folks who kind of have been working in a silo saying, hey, you're doing something different too. I'm doing something different. I want to do something outside of the box, but I didn't know if it was possible. And so that's where the collaboration piece, I think, is so important. That's what we've always done is since we started our community resources kind of arm of our organization, we've brought in other coaches and consultants who have expertise in certain areas, things like cultivating community or, you know, building your parent community. There are kind of so many different pieces that have to work together in order for schools to not just launch, but to be made sustainable and to reach the 5-year mark, which we consider a very critical mark, 5-year mark and beyond. I just did a webinar for Microschools Network in December that was all about centering sustainability to reach the 5-year mark and beyond, because like a lot of businesses, it's very difficult to reach that mark.
Yeah, it's kind of a milestone. And I think when we talked about the silos, in Montessori, like one of the building blocks of Montessori is the idea of community, right? And community building. And I think having worked in schools and having my kids in different schools, like if a school does not have a strong sense of community, it tends to just not have the retention that it needs to. And so that's such an important aspect. But it also takes a village. And it's really hard to work hard and work alone and not have someone to reach out to, or a mentor or a friend or someone who's doing the same thing that you are, to say like, oh my gosh, I had a hard time today, or I'm excited about this. And so to be able to provide that network, that village for micro school leaders is such a cool thing.
That's why it exists, because I felt very much alone. I felt very much alone. Now I wasn't alone. I had family support and I had friends and other mentors. In fact, I started a group in 2009. I think it was on Yahoo. That's dating me, but I think it was a Yahoo group, and then we moved it to Google, and now the group is on Facebook. But we moved it to Facebook in 2016. But it was a group that was designed to connect home-based Montessori preschools. One of our courses is the basics of home-based Montessori preschools, because Meridian Montessori was at one time home-based. And so I connected with some other folks, and some of those people moved on to the next group. Some of them, one of the members of that group just recently retired. She had a home-based Montessori preschool for, I think, 30 plus years. Wow. But yeah, we, just being able to connect with those folks, even though not everyone was on the same path that I was on, they were on similar journeys and had similar challenges and similar, victories. And that was so important. I think especially when you're an education entrepreneur or a microschool leader, microschool teacher leader, it does feel very isolating. And to be able to have that connection with a goal of just connection, a goal of mentorship and connection, not to, some of the other accelerators. I think what they're doing is important, but they are, getting VC, they're getting funding. And so their goal is a little bit different. They want to be able to obviously create a profit and make their investors happy. And that's, our only investors are the families we serve and our mentees. And so those are who we, we want them to be successful for just that reason. And to be able to have that connection just for the sake of, knowing that you're not alone is really important to us.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that really aligns with kind of like the spiritual preparation of the teacher, and that we have that component. I'm sure that you bring that in too, because it's about you and your preparation and your readiness to deliver what you need to deliver in your business and to the children that you're serving. So,
and our mentorship has, we have 9 basically. We have 9 sessions, and we talk about something in each session. And one of them is self-care and spiritual preparation, which I think is really different than any other program offers or mentorship, because it is so important. I mean, it's really critical.
It is. It absolutely is in more than just teaching, right? That's like life in general.
Life. Yes.
Well, we're so excited for this partnership, and you can see here, we have the website up. You can go check out. We have a couple different pricing options, but both of us, both Meridian and AIM, are offering large discounts for this combined deal, so that you can really do this fairly affordably and in a realistic time frame. So if you're thinking of starting a micro school, I'm assuming that you're probably doing it for your own children and you want to get that going. So in this 9-month period starting in March, you can get both the training and the mentorship, which sets you up really well for September start date, right? Like it's almost perfect for you to launch in September. So,
and it's truly comprehensive. I mean, if your goal is to start or grow or sustain a learner-centered multi-age environment, even if you're not necessarily calling it Montessori, by the way, it is, but even if you're not calling it Montessori, this is really, I think, the only mentorship you need. It's an all-in-one. You're getting your curriculum, you're getting your coaching, you're getting the business advice from, veteran leaders and longtime community experts and folks who have been immersed in Montessori teaching and curriculum for many years.
Yeah, people who've walked in your shoes and they have advice to give and guidance to give, which is so valuable because we know we learn from making mistakes, but if we can learn from other people's mistakes, then that saves us a lot of time and energy. So
Absolutely. I mean, I say it so often that there's so much trial and error, and it only feels right to share that, to share those experiences with other people. You know, the timing had to be right. We kind of shared it in bits and pieces, but for something like this, the timing had to be right, and the timing is right this year. And I'm really excited that
I'm
we're able
really
to do
excited
this.
too. And Tasha will be joining us for our Montessori 2025 Montessori Schoolwide Summit, which is just in a few weeks here. It kicks off on January 21st. So you can see her presentation for free. You can grab your free ticket and see her presentation on the basics of Montessori-based microschools if you want some more information before you make your decision.
There's a lot of good information there, and we also do a tour. I did a little tour of one of our micro lab schools.
I love that. That's so cool. I love seeing all these presentations coming in and being able to watch them and get sneak peeks.
I know, you're so lucky.
It's awesome. So just some work to get it all ready, but we're almost ready to go here, and we're going to have that in January. And please do head on over to our website. And if you have questions, even if you're watching a recording of this, you can drop questions in the chat on any of the platforms, and Tasha and I will be in touch. We'll answer your questions for you, whether they're about Meridian or about AIM training programs. We are very, very committed to making sure that this is a good fit for you and this is a good investment for you, because we understand the financial limitations and also the time limitations of what you're trying to do. So head on over to the website, check out the pricing options, check out the information. Let us know if you have any more questions. Do register for the summit, go see Tasha's presentation, and learn more about how you can really accomplish this. It's within the realm of possibility, right, for 2025.
Absolutely. I mean, I know I've got a couple questions via email saying, is this possible in 9 months? We wouldn't do it if it wasn't possible. So I've done it in less time before, in more time and in less time, but we've, helped other schools launch in less time. So 9 months is absolutely doable. And I know that your AIM is very well prepared to do their training in 9 months. They've been doing that. So we've been doing our coaching in 9 months. So it really was a perfect fit.
Yeah, it aligns really well. So we hope that you'll check it out. Tasha, thank you so much for taking time in the new year to announce this with me and celebrate with us, and for contributing to our summit. We really value all of your knowledge and appreciate you.
Appreciate you too. Thanks so much for the work you're doing.
Yep, we love it. So we will never stop. I hope everybody is enjoying the new year, and I hope that it's starting off well and that your new school year starts well on Monday or Tuesday or whenever you head back. And truly, if you have questions, please reach out. Please drop them in the chat or reach out via email. You can find my email on the website, and we are happy to assist with anything. So Tasha, again, thank you. Have a happy new year.
You too.
We'll see everyone
soon. 2025.
Bye.